I watched my son say I scared him. On video, coached, looking off camera for approval. That was the moment she stopped being my wife and became my enemy. She didn't disappear. She erased me. One document at a time. One phone call. One lie rehearsed in a hotel room far from home. And the world believed her. I became the villain in a story I never got to read. My voice was silenced. My love rewritten as danger. My son turned into a witness against me. But stories have edges, loose threads, weak seams, and the father she tried to destroy never left the page. He was just waiting for his turn. Now it's my turn, and I'm not coming with rage. I'm coming with facts, sharpened like teeth. Nathan Cole knew something was wrong before he even touched the front door. The porch light, usually on at dusk, was dark. The house, a modest single story in Portland's east side, sat quiet under a pale sky. No sound from the inside. No toys in the yard. The driveway was empty. Claire's silver SUV was gone. He stepped in and called out, "Claire?" "Eli." His voice echoed. Silence answered. Shoes still on, he walked through the living room. The couch was bare, cushions crooked. Eli's stuffed owl, the one that never left the kid's grip, was sitting on the floor like it had been dropped mid-game and forgotten. Nathan picked it up slowly, fingers tightening around the plush body. The hallway was colder. His heart began a tight, dull thudding. Eli's bedroom door stood ajar. Inside, the shelves were mostly empty. Books gone. Clothes gone. The dinosaur night light still glowed faintly in the corner. He opened the closet. Nothing but hangers. The smell of baby shampoo and laundry detergent clung to the air like a memory refusing to leave. His throat tightened. He checked the bedroom next. Their bedroom. The bed was made. Claire's side of the closet hung empty. Gone were the scarves she arranged by color. Her jewelry box was open. Empty. Bathroom drawers, half cleared. Toothbrush missing. A pink comb left behind, snapped in the middle. Nathan pulled out his phone. No new messages. No missed calls. He dialed Claire's number. 1 ring. 2. Straight to voicemail. "Hey, it's Claire." Leave it after the beep. Beep. "Claire, where are you? Where's Eli? Call me back. Please." He hung up. Dialed again. Same result. He tried her work number. Nothing. Her mother's number. Voicemail. Her sister's. Voicemail. He opened the laptop on the kitchen counter. Email. Nothing. Calendar. Blank. He checked the security camera feed. The system was offline. He sat down at the table, slowly, like sitting too fast might break something inside him. The weight of the moment crushed in. Claire didn't leave. She vanished, erased herself, took their son, and left no note. No fight. No goodbye. The refrigerator buzzed behind him. Somewhere, a dog barked. The silence of the house had texture now. Thick, heavy, unnatural. He looked down at the owl in his hands. Something snapped in his chest. Nathan sat in a cramped, fluorescent-lit office across from a patrol officer who looked 15 and bored. "She's his mother," the cop said, tapping at a keyboard with one hand. "You said there was no sign of struggle, no threats, no restraining order." He shrugged. "Honestly, she's probably just taking a break." "A break." Nathan's voice cracked. "She took our son." The officer glanced up, clearly uncomfortable. "Look, Mr. Cole, unless there's evidence of endangerment, we can't treat this as abduction. Try mediation, maybe a family attorney." That night, Nathan didn't sleep. He scrolled through bank statements, emails, receipts. Claire had emptied their joint account 12 days before she disappeared. small withdrawals, like breadcrumbs he hadn't noticed. Her work email had a brief out-of-office reply, taking a leave. Family reasons. On day 4, he found Trent McCall, a private investigator recommended through a friend of a friend, a grizzled ex-cop with faded tattoos, nicotine breath, and a voice like crushed gravel. "You want the truth or comfort?" Trent asked, sitting across from him in a diner booth. "Because you usually don't get both." Nathan handed over a folder of what little he had. Photos, dates, Claire's old addresses, Eli's birth certificate. 1 week later, Trent came back with answers, and they weren't kind. She filed a sealed affidavit in Multnomah County Family Court. Trent's voice was flat, claimed emotional volatility, verbal threats, unpredictable behavior. Said you scared the kid. Cited vague incidents with no witnesses. Nathan felt the world tip. None of that happened. She also applied for an emergency relocation order. Chicago. She's got family there. The court approved it the day before she left. Trent slid a flash drive across the table. Public documents. You were never served because she claimed it would be dangerous. Dangerous. She made me sound like a threat, Nathan whispered. She made you sound like a fuse waiting to blow, Trent said. And legally, you're boxed in. You try to contact her, you violate the order. You go near the kid, same deal. You fight it now, you fight it from below zero. Nathan stared out the diner window. People passed by in the rain, umbrellas tilting against the wind. All of them looked free. She didn't leave, he murmured. She planned an extraction. Trent lit a cigarette and nodded. Welcome to family law warfare. She's 3 moves ahead. Nathan clenched his fists under the table. Then I'll start catching up. The video arrived at 2:17 a.m. Nathan had been sitting on the edge of his bed, staring at a wall he couldn't remember painting. His phone buzzed with a new email. No subject, no sender name. Just an attachment titled Eli.mov. For a moment, he thought it was spam. Then he opened it. Grainy footage. Hotel room. Eli sat stiffly on the edge of a strange bed, hands in his lap, eyes darting to the side. His voice was small, like he was reading from inside himself. Dad yells sometimes. He scares me. Nathan froze. Off camera, a voice, female, calm, rehearsed, prompted. That's good, sweetheart. Now slower. Look at the camera this time. Eli blinked, then repeated the line, his face twisting like he didn't understand the words. Nathan paused the video, backed it up, played it again. The lighting was too deliberate. The coaching too smooth. The room had no toys. No signs of real comfort. The whole thing smelled of manufacture. He forwarded the video to Trent. Within hours, Trent replied, Metadata confirms. Filmed 5 days ago, hotel off I-90 near Joliet, Illinois. She's using someone else's name. I'm digging deeper. Nathan sat with the video on repeat, trying to focus on Eli's eyes. Were they scared? Were they confused? He looked like he'd been given a role, not a memory. Later that day, he walked past a neighbor who smiled awkwardly and said nothing. At the corner store, the clerk avoided eye contact. At the mailbox, he found an unmarked envelope. Inside, photocopies of Claire's affidavit. Words like emotional instability, unfit father, episodes jumped out in bold. Someone was circulating the lie. He wasn't just being removed from Eli's life. He was being edited out, one accusation at a time. He drove back home in silence. Parked. Sat in the car with the engine running until the fuel light blinked. Inside, the house felt staged now too. Photos on the walls like props from a life that hadn't really happened. He opened a cabinet and pulled out one of Eli's train sets, the red one with a missing wheel. He turned it over in his hand like it might whisper something back. Then he picked up his phone and recorded his own video. Simple. Honest. One take. My name is Nathan Cole. I am not violent. I have never hurt my son. This isn't about custody. It's about control. And I'm not disappearing. He didn't send it. But now it existed. Margot Vale answered the phone on the second ring. Nathan, she said, voice smooth and sharp as a paper cut. I wondered how long it would take you. I want to know if Eli is safe. A pause. The faint clink of ice in a glass. He's with his mother. Of course he's safe. I want to speak to him. That's not going to happen. Nathan gripped the phone tighter. You're not Claire. You don't get to. I'm protecting my family, she cut in. You are not part of that anymore. Then she hung up. It wasn't shock that hit him. It was the clarity of how carefully he'd been erased. Claire had moved first, filed the paperwork, created the narrative. Margot, with her decades of courtroom poise, had reinforced it. Now they were closing the gates. Later that evening, Trent showed up unannounced, windblown, and holding a manila folder. She flew into Chicago under the name Claire Abernathy, checked into a corporate leased suite at the Lakeside Regency, used a Shell LLC registered in Florida. That's how she booked it without red flags. She planned this like a damn heist, Nathan muttered. Trent nodded. Her mom's fingerprints are all over it. That woman doesn't lose cases. She buries them. Nathan flipped through the folder. Boarding passes, timestamps, rental agreements. Everything dated back weeks before the night Claire disappeared. He stared at the timeline, stunned by how far behind he really was. She didn't snap, he said. She strategized. And she's got allies with teeth, Trent added. Lawyers, real estate contacts, tech people. I guarantee she's got a clean narrative ready for court and family services. You're the dangerous one. She's the protective mother. Margot's the guiding matriarch. Eli's the prize. Nathan sat down slowly, letting the weight of it land. He was alone. Outplayed. But not done. Can we prove it's a setup? Trent scratched his chin. Not yet. But people always leave a seam. A thread. You pull the right one, it unravels. Nathan closed the folder. Then let's start pulling. The next morning, he woke to find his car keyed. Just one word etched into the driver's side door. Liar. Someone wanted him quiet. Someone underestimated him. It started with an email from HR. Mandatory meeting. 11 a.m. No context. Nathan arrived at the office early. His badge still worked, but no one met his eyes. The front desk assistant, usually chatty, muttered a strained hey and busied herself with non-existent papers. The conference room door was ajar. Inside, his project manager, a woman from legal, and the company's founder sat in silence. A manila envelope rested on the table like a landmine. We've received information. The legal rep began, voice calm in that corporate disaster tone. Anonymous submissions. About you. Nathan sat down slowly. What kind of information? The envelope slid across the table. Inside, screenshots of old emails, out-of-context Slack threads, and, at the bottom, a distorted audio clip. Nathan's voice, mid-argument, raised and raw. He remembered the moment. He and Claire fighting about money. But here, stripped of context, it sounded unhinged. This isn't what it looks like, he said. We're not accusing you of anything, the manager said. But we're a public-facing firm. Clients, reputation. She didn't finish the sentence. We're placing you on indefinite leave. With pay. For now. The meeting ended in under 15 minutes. No chance to explain. No room to fight. They weren't calling him guilty, just inconvenient. Outside, rain blurred the city skyline into smears. Nathan stood on the curb, soaked, staring at a text that had just arrived from an unknown number. "You should stop. It's only going to get worse." He stared at it for a long time, then deleted it. He drove aimlessly for hours. Stopped once at a gas station for coffee, forgot to pay, then returned sheepishly when the clerk called after him. He wasn't unraveling, not exactly, but he could feel himself loosening at the seams. By nightfall, he ended up at an overlook outside the city. The view stretched over Black River water, distant headlights winking through trees. He pulled out his phone, replayed the clip of Eli in the hotel room again. "Dad yells sometimes. He scares me." He whispered back, "I don't scare you. I never did." His breath fogged the windshield. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. This wasn't a custody battle. It was a controlled demolition, and Claire had planted every charge. Nathan leaned back in his seat. He needed a new playbook, and fewer rules. He left Portland that night without packing. Just threw on a coat, grabbed his wallet, and drove. The freeway stretched out like an open wound, dark, wet, endless. The further he got, the quieter the world became. No traffic, no voices, just the hum of the tires and the distant memory of Eli saying, "Daddy, go faster." He didn't know where he was going. That was the point. Around 1 a.m., he found a roadside motel, peeling paint, dim neon sign half-lit. The night clerk didn't ask for ID, just slid him a key and muttered, "Room 4. No smoking." The room smelled of mildew and bleach. A single bed, scratchy sheets, TV bolted to the wall. He sat on the edge, stared at the ceiling, then lay down fully clothed. But his mind wouldn't rest. He pulled out his phone, opened an old video. Eli, 3 years old, in a Spider-Man hoodie, dancing on the living room rug. Claire laughing behind the camera. Nathan, off-screen, saying, "Show me your super kick, buddy." Eli giggled and fell over. Nathan smiled, then caught himself. The laughter in the video sounded like it came from a parallel universe. He hit pause, then opened the camera app, started to record. "My name is Nathan Cole. I'm a father, not a perfect one, but I've never hit my son. I've never threatened him. I don't know what you think I am, Claire, but this version of me," his voice broke. "It's not real." He deleted the clip. Outside, a freight train howled in the distance. Long, low, mournful. It rumbled past in the dark like some forgotten god dragging chains. Nathan stood at the window, watching the blur of cars streak by. He thought of ghost trains, urban legends of engines that never stop, destinations never reached. That's how he felt now. Haunted, moving, unseen. He sat down at the small desk in the corner and pulled out hotel stationery. Wrote a letter he wouldn't send. To Eli. "You're too young to understand this now. But one day, I hope you'll see the full picture. That I never left you. I was just pushed out. I'm still here. Always have been." He folded the note, slid it into the bedside drawer. He didn't sleep, just listened to the wind, the train fading into silence. But somewhere in the dark, a shift happened. Not loud, not heroic, just a choice. He was done being erased. Trent texted him 2 days later. "Got something. Meet me." The coffee shop was on the edge of an industrial block, half forgotten. Nathan sat in the corner, hands wrapped around a paper cup he hadn't touched. Trent arrived with someone in tow, a woman in her early 30s, dressed in jeans and a gray hoodie, hair pulled into a nervous knot. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. "This is Jenna Quinn," Trent said. She used to work for Claire's sister. As a nanny. Nathan nodded slowly. Jenna didn't sit at first. She hovered, twisting a ring on her finger. I shouldn't be doing this, she whispered. You don't have to, Nathan replied. Only if you want to. That broke something. She sat down. I saw your son. A few times. Claire brought him over to her sister's place when I was still working there. The first time he was quiet. Looked scared, honestly. Wouldn't let go of a toy train. Nathan's chest tightened. Claire rehearsed lines with him. Made him practice what to say about you. I didn't think much of it at first. Maybe it was part of a custody thing. But then she'd reward him for getting it right. She'd say, tell them Daddy shouts. And if he did it right, she'd give him candy. If he hesitated, she'd get cold. Real cold. Did anyone else see this? Jenna shook her head. They were all so used to Claire being perfect. No one questioned her. I only started keeping notes after she snapped at Eli one day for saying he missed you. She grabbed his arm hard. Left a mark. Nathan leaned forward, barely breathing. Would you be willing to write that down? She nodded, hesitant but firm. I already did. Trent has it. Sworn and dated. But if this goes public, Claire will know it came from me. And her mother, she trailed off. We'll protect you, Trent said. No one protected me when I left, Jenna said, almost to herself. But maybe this helps someone else. She stood, reached into her bag, and handed Nathan a folded page. He deserves better than this. Nathan opened the note. 3 lines in shaky script. He misses you. He talks about trains. He's scared at night. His eyes burned. He blinked hard. When he looked up, Jenna was already walking out the door. The courtroom in Chicago was colder than Nathan expected. Polished floors, high ceilings, that faint antiseptic scent of bureaucracy. It was the kind of place where lives got repackaged in legal terms: custody, visitation, parental fitness. Humanity came second. Nathan sat at the long wooden table next to his attorney, Ethan Marshall, sharp suit, sharper mind, ex-federal prosecutor with the patience of a sniper. Across the aisle, Claire sat flanked by 2 lawyers and her mother. Margot Vale was in full regalia, charcoal blazer, pearls, that expression like she'd already won. Claire's eyes flicked toward Nathan once. Blank. Almost bored. The judge entered. A woman in her 60s with silver hair and a face carved by 1,000 similar cases. Ethan rose. Your Honor, we're filing a motion to lift the protective order filed under sealed affidavit. We present new evidence that challenges the narrative of harm and instability alleged by Ms. Vale. The judge raised an eyebrow. Proceed. Then Jenna Quinn was called. She walked to the stand like someone moving through fog, shoulders tight, hands clasped. But her voice, though fragile, did not waver. She described what she saw: the coaching, the rehearsals, the emotional pressure on Eli. She recounted the bruise, described Claire's temper behind closed doors. Claire never looked at her. Margot didn't blink. The court reporter's fingers clicked steadily, capturing every word. Then Ethan submitted the affidavit. The note from Jenna. The video of Eli, metadata attached. Trent's timeline of Claire's travel, filed precisely 1 day before the affidavit was sealed. The judge didn't render a decision that day. She said she'd review. But the moment Jenna stepped down, something shifted. Not legally, not yet, but visibly. Claire's posture changed. Margot whispered sharply into her ear. Nathan stood in the hallway after, watching Jenna walk into the parking lot alone. He wanted to thank her again. Instead, he let her go. Ethan joined him, adjusting his tie. She cracked a seam, he said. It's not a win, but it's the first real blow. Will it matter? Nathan asked. Ethan looked out the window. In my experience, liars are good at one thing, controlling the room. But when someone else speaks with truth, even if it's quiet, it sticks. Judges notice. Nathan watched Claire step into a black town car, her mother right behind her. The door shut. They didn't look back. For the first time, Nathan felt them flinch. The next move came quickly. Claire's lawyers offered mediation. Supervised visitation, no discussion of the past, no contact outside pre-approved channels. On paper, it was a step forward. Nathan could finally see Eli. But Ethan smelled it immediately. They're stalling, trying to control the narrative while defusing yours. They're losing, Nathan said. No, Ethan corrected. They're leaking. And people like them don't like the smell of their own blood. Nathan refused the offer. He didn't want scraps of fatherhood. He wanted truth, unfiltered. That refusal triggered retaliation. Claire's team filed a civil suit. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. Thin, theatrical, more PR than legal. But headlines bloomed in their local press. Father accused of emotional abuse fights court order. The judge dismissed it. Fast, bluntly. But damage wasn't the point. Doubt was. Meanwhile, social services launched a formal review of Claire's original affidavit. The judge ordered psychological evaluations for both parents. Standard procedure, but revealing. Nathan passed without issue. Claire's report came back, inconclusive with signs of control-oriented behavior. The phrase hung in the court record like a bruise. Visible, undeniable, there. In private, Ethan grinned for the first time since taking the case. They thought they were holding the knife. Turns out they're on the table too. Nathan, however, wasn't celebrating. He was working. Nights spent sorting timelines, assembling voice memos, cataloging everything. He found school art projects with his name scratched out. Emails Claire never answered. Video clips where Eli looked at the door when Nathan's voice echoed from another room, like he was waiting. Claire's silence grew louder. She didn't show at the next procedural hearing. Her attorneys cited stress. Margot sent a cold letter through legal channels, demanding privacy and protection from further harassment. But the tone had changed. It was no longer command. It was containment. Nathan felt it. In the courtroom glances. In the nervous tone of their latest filings. In the way Margot stopped speaking directly to him. They're off script, Ethan said. Which means they're dangerous now. Cornered animals don't back down. They bite. Nathan nodded. He wasn't naive. Truth didn't guarantee justice. But lies, under pressure, tended to snap. One night, he stood in front of a mirror and said it out loud. She tried to erase me. But I'm still here. The reflection stared back, steady. It started with a skipped court date. Claire was scheduled for a follow-up evaluation. Instead, her attorney filed a motion to delay, citing extreme psychological distress. The judge denied it. 3 days later, a memo leaked. The court-appointed psychologist flagged Claire's behavior as coercive, image-dependent, and control-driven. In legal terms, it was a red flare. Nathan read the report twice. Then again, the phrases echoed in his head. Emotional triangulation, over-identification with the child, suppression of paternal bond. The next hearing was different. No press. No smiles. Claire sat pale and hollow. Margot was silent, jaw locked tight. Their attorneys spoke less, hedged more. Then came the curveball. Margot filed a civil claim against Nathan for causing irreversible reputational damage to the Vale family. It was desperate. Sloppy. The judge dismissed it in under 5 minutes. Ethan leaned over and whispered, They're bleeding out in public now. Outside the courthouse, Margot cornered Nathan. "You're tearing this family apart," she said. "I didn't touch your family," Nathan replied. "Claire detonated it. You just helped arrange the explosives." Margot stared at him like he'd spoken a language she didn't recognize. That night, a CPS rep contacted Ethan directly. Nathan's visitation was to be expanded, no more supervision. The court was preparing to review full custody. Suddenly, Nathan's name wasn't the shadow in the room anymore. Claire's team filed nothing new. They had nothing left to file. And yet, Nathan didn't feel triumphant, just exhausted. He sat in his apartment, lights off, a cold beer sweating in his hand. The silence wasn't peace. It was the absence of war, a numb kind of quiet. He pulled out Eli's old drawing, the one Jenna had copied. A red crayon train, a scribbled smiley face. He imagined Eli sleeping somewhere across the city, unaware of the storm collapsing just outside his world. Nathan whispered into the dark, "Almost there, buddy." And for the first time, he believed it. The room was smaller than Nathan expected. Neutral walls, a box of worn toys in the corner, a laminated sign on the door that read, "Family Reunification Unit." It smelled like cleaning fluid and stale crackers. He sat in the plastic chair, palms sweating. Across from him, the social worker flipped through a clipboard, professional but kind. "He's nervous," she said. "Happens every time. Just let him lead." Then the door opened. Eli stepped in slowly, holding a tiny stuffed T-Rex under one arm. He'd grown taller. His hair was longer. His eyes, still wide and brown, blinked once, then settled on Nathan. Nathan rose, then dropped to one knee. "Hey, buddy." Eli didn't move, just clutched the dinosaur tighter. "I'm really happy to see you," Nathan said. "You've got a new shirt. Looks cool." Eli glanced down. "It's got sharks," he said quietly. Nathan smiled. "Sharks are awesome." There was a pause. Then Eli stepped forward, just one step, and sat down cross-legged in front of the toy box. He didn't say anything, just started pulling out trains. The red one, the blue one. One was missing a wheel. Nathan eased onto the floor beside him. Not too close. They sat in silence. Eli lined up the trains, pushed them gently. The social worker observed from the corner, but didn't interrupt. After a few minutes, Eli said, "Do you still have the bridge?" Nathan blinked. "The blue one?" "Yeah. It's in my closet, waiting for you." Eli nodded. Then, softly, "Can you come next week too?" Nathan swallowed. "Yeah, I can." The hour passed quietly. No big breakthroughs, no tearful hugs. But when the session ended, Eli didn't want to leave the red train behind. He looked at the social worker, then at Nathan. "Can he keep it?" Nathan asked. The woman hesitated, then nodded. "Just this once." Eli placed the train in Nathan's hand. "It's for you." Nathan didn't move, didn't speak, just held it like it was made of glass. Outside, he sat in his car, the train still in his palm. He didn't cry out of grief. He cried because something inside him, something sacred, had opened again. He didn't know how to describe it, but it felt like home. A year later, everything was quieter. The court battle dragged on for months, filled with filings, hearings, silence. But the custody order shifted, piece by piece. Weekends became shared weeks. Supervised visits turned into school pickups. By spring, Eli spent most of the month with Nathan. Claire moved back to Seattle. No goodbye, no letters. Margot filed one last complaint before the Bar Association. It was dismissed without review. Nathan now lived in a modest duplex near a park, walking distance to Eli's school. His office doubled as a playroom on weekends. The blue train bridge sat on the shelf, always waiting. He kept working, freelance architecture, slow but steady. He stayed out of headlines. He said little in court, but he showed up. Eli began to relax. He laughed more, asked questions, drew pictures again. One evening, Nathan opened Eli's backpack and found a folded sheet of paper. Crayon lines. A simple message. I like it better here. No signature. Just a crooked red heart in the corner. Nathan framed it. That night, they sat on the floor, eating pizza. Eli built towers out of magnetic tiles while Nathan watched from the couch, a quiet rhythm playing on the old radio. You think it'll fall? Eli asked, balancing a shaky piece. Nathan smiled. Only if you stop holding it. The tower wobbled. Eli steadied it. Later, after bedtime, Nathan stepped onto the porch. The street was quiet. Spring air moved soft through the trees. He thought about everything it had taken to get here. The accusations, the courtrooms, the silence, the bruises on reputation, the nights spent wondering if Eli would remember him at all. He'd crossed that line. The one Claire never thought he would. Not the loud kind of defiance. Not revenge. Just refusal. To be erased. To be silent. To stop showing up. He didn't hate her anymore. That was the truth. There was nothing left to hate. He was on the other side now. Not of a battle, but of a boundary. Inside, Eli stirred in his sleep, murmured something about sharks and trains. Nathan smiled and stepped back in, closing the door gently behind him. Whatever came next, it would be theirs. And this time, no one else got to write the story. The world doesn't fall apart all at once. It unravels in small, silent ways, in the space between words, in the click of a door that doesn't reopen, in a child's eyes when they stop recognizing home. But healing doesn't come in grand gestures either. It returns in fragments, in the clatter of toy trains on hardwood floors, in bedtime stories told with a cracked voice, in the moment a child leans against you, not because they have to, but because they choose to. I learned that love isn't something you prove with perfect behavior. It's something you protect, even when the world tells you to let go, even when you're standing alone. Especially then, there are scars you carry not on your body, but in the spaces people once filled. And sometimes, the only way to move forward is to live so fully that those spaces no longer feel empty. I used to think the story ended when she left with our son. But the truth is, the real story began the day I refused to disappear.